April 28, 1967. Federal Court, Houston, Texas. Muhammad Ali stood before the judge, facing 5 years in prison and the loss of everything he'd built. The prosecutor demanded he serve his country. The judge warned him one final time. Ali's response lasted exactly 47 seconds. When he finished speaking, the entire courtroom was silent. 3 people were crying. One of them was the judge. What Ali said in those 47 seconds would change America forever. But this story didn't start that day. It actually started a year earlier. And the real question wasn't, why did Muhammad Ali say no? The real question was, why would the most famous man in the world, at the peak of his career, risk everything? February 1966, Miami, Florida. Muhammad Ali was 24 years old and the heavyweight champion of the world. He'd beaten Sonny Liston. He'd beaten Floyd Patterson. He'd just beaten George Chuvalo and was preparing for his next opponent. Everything was perfect. That morning, sitting in his room at the training camp, he got a phone call. The caller was from the US Armed Forces examining an entrance station. Mr. Clay, the voice said. Ali didn't use that name anymore, but officially he was still Cassius Clay on government documents. We've sent you a notice. You're being drafted for military service in Vietnam. Your date to report for physical examination is February 17th. Ali hung up the phone. In the room with him were his manager, Herbert Muhammad, and his close friend, Howard Bingham. What did they say? Herbert asked. They're drafting me, Ali said quietly. At that time, the Vietnam War was escalating. Every week, hundreds of American soldiers were dying. The government was calling up more and more men, and celebrities weren't exempt. But for Ali, this wasn't just a simple draft notice. This was a direct conflict with who he was and what he believed in. In 1964, Ali had converted to Islam. He'd joined the Nation of Islam and changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. And according to his Islamic faith, participating in an unjust war was a sin. I'm not going, Ali said. Herbert stood up. Ali, do you understand what you're saying? Refusing this is a federal crime. You'll go to prison. You'll lose your title. You'll lose everything. I know what I'll lose, Ali said. But if I go, I'll lose my soul. That's worse. A few days later, Ali held a press conference. Reporters bombarded him with questions about Vietnam. One reporter asked, Ali, are you going to refuse to serve? Ali looked directly at the camera. And then he spoke the words that would go down in history. I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong. No Viet Cong ever called me nigger. The room instantly exploded. Reporters erupted. Some were yelling. Some were shocked. Ali continued. Why should I go 10,000 miles away to help murder and kill poor people when my own people are being brutalized and treated like dogs right here? My religion teaches me that killing is wrong. And I'm not going to help murder innocent people for a country that treats me like a second-class citizen. The next day, newspaper headlines read, Ali refuses draft. Champion betrays country. Is Muhammad Ali a traitor? America was split in two. Some saw Ali as a hero, a brave man acting on his conscience. Others saw him as a traitor, a coward abandoning his country. Former boxers attacked Ali. Floyd Patterson said, he's a disgrace. Joe Louis said, every American should do their duty. Politicians condemned him. State governors banned Ali from boxing in their states. But Ali didn't back down. From March 1966 to April 1967, Ali's lawyers fought the government. They requested a religious exemption. They argued that Ali was a Muslim minister and therefore shouldn't have to go to war. The military commission reviewed Ali's application, and surprisingly, they initially recommended giving him an exemption. The report said, Ali's religious beliefs appear sincere, but then something happened. President Lyndon Johnson's office intervened. Johnson was afraid that giving Ali an exemption would empower the anti-war movement. If famous Muhammad Ali didn't go to Vietnam, other young men wouldn't want to go either. Under Johnson's pressure, the decision was reversed. Ali was denied the exemption. He was ordered to report. April 28, 1967, Houston, Texas, Armed Forces Induction Center. When Ali entered the building, dozens of reporters and camera crews were there. Everyone was watching him. Everyone was asking the same question. Would he really refuse to step forward? In the induction process, an officer calls out names and those called step forward. This is the moment they officially join the military. The officer called out names, one name after another. Young men stepped forward. Then, Cassius Marcellus Clay. Ali stayed where he was. He didn't move. The officer called again, louder. Cassius Clay! Ali still didn't move. The room was silent. Everyone was staring at Ali. The officer approached. Mr. Clay, your name has been called. You need to step forward. Ali spoke quietly. My name is Muhammad Ali, and I will not step forward. The officer's face turned bright red. If you refuse to step forward, you're committing a federal crime. You could go to prison for 5 years. So be it, Ali said. My conscience tells me not to fight. I believe in Allah, and He commands me not to participate in an unjust war. When Ali walked out of the building, reporters swarmed him. Don't you love your country? One shouted. Ali stopped. I love my country, but my country doesn't love me. How can I go die for a country that treats me like a second-class citizen? Ali's refusal had immediate consequences. Within an hour, the New York State Athletic Commission revoked Ali's boxing license. Other states did the same. The World Boxing Council stripped Ali of his heavyweight title. At 24 years old, at the peak of his career, Muhammad Ali could no longer box in America. Worse, the federal government was preparing to arrest him. May 20th, 1967, a grand jury indicted Ali for draft evasion. The case was assigned to Houston Federal Court. The judge, Joe Ingram, was a former Army veteran. Ali's lawyers tried to defend him, but the situation looked hopeless. The law was clear. Refusing a draft notice meant up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Ali was offered a deal. If he pleaded guilty, he'd serve only 18 months and could work at a military base. He wouldn't have to go to Vietnam. He'd just organize boxing matches and entertain the troops. Ali met with his lawyer. This is a good deal, the lawyer said. 18 months. You don't have to go to the battlefield. You'll just stay on base. Then you'll get out. You can box again. You'll get your title back. Ali shook his head. No, Ali, if you go to trial, you'll lose. The judge will give you 5 years. Your career will be over. You'll be 29 when you get out of prison. Too old to box. Then so be it, Ali said. I can't be a liar. If I accept this deal, it means my religious beliefs aren't real. The world will look at me and say, look, Ali abandoned his faith when danger came. I can't do that. Some things are more important than money, fame, or even freedom. My soul, my conscience, my faith in Allah, these are not negotiable. June 20th, 1967, Houston. Federal Court. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, fans, Ali supporters, and his enemies. Ali wore a dark suit and bow tie. He looked calm, but inside he could feel his heart racing. The prosecutor, William S. Sessions, presented the case. He was harsh and determined. Mr. Clay, he said, still using Ali's old name, refuse the draft. This is a federal crime. The law is clear. The penalty is clear. 5 years in prison. That's it. Then the prosecutor turned to Ali. Our country is at war. American soldiers are dying every day. And you, a strong, healthy young man, refuse to serve your country. Why? Because you claim to be religious. But really, aren't you just scared? Don't you just want to protect your boxing career? Ali leaned forward. His lawyer told him to sit, but Ali wanted to speak. Judge Ingram said, Mr. Ali, do you wish to speak? Yes, sir, Ali stood up. The room fell silent. And then Muhammad Ali began to speak. Your Honor, I am not a coward, Ali said, his voice calm but powerful. I'm not afraid to punch people in the face in boxing. I fought Sonny Liston when everyone said he'd kill me. I fought Floyd Patterson. I fought George Chuvalo. I'm not afraid of physical pain. I'm not afraid of prison. I'm not even afraid of death. Ali paused, took a breath. But I am afraid of God. And he taught me this. Killing in an unjust war is a sin. The war in Vietnam is an unjust war. I don't know those people. They never did anything to me. They're not invading my land. They're not attacking my country. Why should I kill them? A few people in the courtroom nodded. Ali continued. In this country, black people are treated like second-class citizens. We can't vote in some states. We get thrown out of restaurants. We can't go to the same schools as white people. And now, the government wants me to go to Vietnam to protect white America's freedom. But here, in my own country, where is my freedom? The prosecutor tried to stand up, but the judge signaled him to sit. The judge was listening to Ali. I believe in Islam, Ali said. And Islam taught me this. All people are equal. Black, white, brown. We're all God's children. And I cannot kill my brother. Those people in Vietnam are my brothers. I cannot kill them just because someone told me to. Ali's voice trembled slightly, but he continued. If you send me to prison, so be it. If you take my title, so be it. If my career ends, so be it. But I will stand before Allah and He will ask me, why did you kill innocent people? And what will I answer him? Because a judge told me to? No, I can never give that answer. Ali stopped. There was deep silence in the room. I'm acting according to my conscience. Your Honor, my conscience tells me not to fight. If that's a crime, then I'm guilty. But I am not guilty before God, and that's what matters most to me. Ali sat down. The courtroom was still silent. Then something happened. One of the jury members was crying. An elderly white woman was trying to wipe away tears. The court clerk, a young man, was wiping his eyes. And Judge Joe Ingram, A tough man who'd sat in courtrooms for 30 years and seen hundreds of cases, pressed the sleeve of his robe to his eye. He was crying. Judge Ingram said nothing for a minute. He just sat there, silent. Then he spoke, his voice softer. "Mr. Ali," he said, "I'm a soldier. I fought in Vietnam. I lost friends there. And for many years, I was angry at anti-war people. I didn't see them as patriots." Ali listened carefully. "But today," the judge continued, "sitting here before you, I must be honest. I respect your courage. I respect your faith. And I respect your conscience." The room held its breath. "But," the judge said, "I am a man of law. The law is clear. You refused the draft. This is a federal crime. Whatever my feelings, I must apply the law." The judge raised his gavel. "Muhammad Ali, I find you guilty of draft evasion. Sentence, 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine." The gavel hit the desk. The courtroom erupted. People were shouting. Some were crying. Reporters were running around. Ali just sat there, calm. He was even smiling. "Justice will prevail," he said quietly. "Maybe not today, but someday." From 1967 to 1970, Muhammad Ali couldn't box. Not because he wasn't the heavyweight champion, not because he didn't want to, because every state refused to give him a license. 27, 28, 29 years old, a boxer's best years. Ali spent them in courtrooms, speaking at college campuses and waiting. The money ran out. His house was in danger of foreclosure. His family was struggling, but Ali had no regrets. He gave speeches at universities. He told young people they needed to act according to their conscience. He became a symbol of the anti-war movement. And in 1971, something changed. The Supreme Court took the case, and in June 1971, the decision came, 8-0, in favor of Muhammad Ali. The Supreme Court ruled that Ali's religious beliefs were sincere. The government had wrongly denied him the exemption. Ali was free, but 3 years were lost. 3 years outside of boxing. 3 years without income. In 1971, Ali was allowed to box again. And he was ready for revenge, but not just in the ring, in history. In 1974, he beat George Foreman to become world champion again. The rumble in the jungle in Zaire became one of the greatest moments in sports. And gradually, America changed. The Vietnam War ended in 1975. Thousands of American soldiers had died. The war was lost. And when people looked back, they realized Muhammad Ali was right. He had stood against an unjust war, and he had sacrificed everything for it. In 2005, President George W. Bush awarded Ali the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in the United States. In 2016, when Ali died, former President Barack Obama said, "Muhammad Ali showed us that true courage isn't stepping into the ring. True courage is saying no to something you know is wrong, no matter the cost." That day in the courtroom, Muhammad Ali didn't just speak for himself. He spoke for millions of people who don't live according to their conscience, who abandon their principles when danger comes. And in 47 seconds, he made a judge cry. He moved a jury, and he changed a nation. Today, those court transcripts are kept in the National Archives of America. And every year, thousands of students read those transcripts and asked the same question. Could I be that brave? Most people say no, because courage isn't easy. Standing by your principles isn't easy. Believing in what's right when everyone abandons you isn't easy. But Muhammad Ali showed us it's possible. One man with only his conscience can stand against the most powerful government and win. Maybe that's why he's called the greatest. Not because of his victories in the ring, but because his greatest fight wasn't in a ring. It was in a courtroom, facing a judge, a jury, and the entire American government. And he won with just words, with just his courage and his faith. This is what true champions do. They don't just win matches, they change history. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs courage. Because today, the world still needs people like Muhammad Ali, people who can say no to what they know is wrong, people who will live according to their conscience, no matter the cost. Muhammad Ali taught us that some fights aren't won with fists. Some fights are won with words, with faith, and with an unshakable conscience. And sometimes, 47 seconds is enough to change a life, a history, forever.